The vast Pacific Ocean, January 5, 1943. Dawn breaks over the Solomon Islands, the sky a pale bruise of gray and rose. Aboard the light cruiser USS Helena, the deck vibrates with the low hum of engines and the metallic clank of ammunition hoists. Salt air carries the faint scent of cordite from earlier drills. Lookouts scan the horizon, binoculars steady, as distant specks resolve into the unmistakable silhouettes of Japanese Aichi D-3A dive bombers slicing through the morning haze, engines screaming in their final descent. In that moment, the Imperial Japanese Navy still believed air superiority rested on skill, daring, and the precision of their pilots. Experienced aviators trained in the art of the dive expected to press home their attacks against American ships burdened by the limitations of conventional anti-aircraft fire. Timed fuses required meticulous calculation, a split-second error in estimation, and the shell burst too soon, too late, or not at all. Contact fuses demanded a direct hit, rare against fast-moving, maneuvering aircraft. Japanese doctrine counted on these American shortcomings, allowing determined pilots to close within lethal range, release their bombs, and escape. Yet on this day, everything changed. As the first VAL dive bombers rolled into their steep attack, Helena's 5-inch guns opened fire. The shells, fitted with the revolutionary Mark 32 proximity fuse, known to sailors as the funny fuse or VT for variable time, hurtled skyward. Unlike traditional ammunition, these rounds carried a miniature radar transmitter and receiver, a technological marvel born from years of secret collaboration between British innovators and American physicists at Johns Hopkins University's Applied Physics Laboratory. The fuse emitted radio waves, listened for the echo reflected from metal skin, and detonated when the target came within lethal proximity, typically 50 to 100 feet. No precise timing needed, no direct hit required. The sky erupted in deadly blossoms of shrapnel. 1, 2, 3 salvos, and the lead bomber vanished in a mid-air fireball, wings folding as flaming wreckage tumbled into the sea. The remaining aircraft met the same merciless fate. What should have been a successful strike dissolved into catastrophe. Post-action reports credited the new fuses with turning near misses into kills, where conventional fire might demand hundreds or thousands of rounds per aircraft downed. The proximity fuse achieved lethality several times greater. By 1943, though only about a quarter of anti-aircraft ammunition carried the new fuses, they accounted for roughly half of all Japanese aircraft destroyed by naval gunfire in the Pacific. The transformation spread rapidly. As production scaled, over 20 million fuses eventually manufactured, the weapon became the shield against Japan's evolving desperation. Conventional attacks grew suicidal, pilots pressed home only to meet invisible walls of air-bursting shells. Losses mounted so catastrophically that by late 1944, the Imperial Navy turned to kamikaze tactics, the ultimate admission that normal methods could no longer prevail. The proximity fuse combined with radar-directed directors transformed fleet defense. Vannevar Bush, director of the Office of Scientific Research and Development, later estimated it increased the effectiveness of 5-inch anti-aircraft artillery 7-fold against the kamikaze onslaught. A recurring symbol emerges in the accounts of those who witnessed it: the empty shell casing. Brass casings litter the decks after every engagement, cooling, glinting in the sun, each one a testament to American industrial abundance. Where Japanese ordnance officers rationed every round, American factories poured forth millions of these sophisticated projectiles. The casings pile high, uncounted, discarded without hesitation, symbols of a nation that could afford to arm its ships with weapons the enemy could scarcely imagine, let alone replicate. They represent not merely metal, but the vast productive capacity of democracy at war, limitless resources, scientific collaboration, mass production without pause. Japanese engineers and surviving pilots, when they later reflected on the phenomenon, spoke of an almost supernatural accuracy. Shells burst in the sky with no apparent reason, shredding aircraft that had evaded direct hits. The effect was terrifying. One post-action analysis suggested the inexplicable lethality contributed to the shift toward suicide attacks, as conventional bravery proved futile against this unseen force. In time, the proximity fuse did more than protect ships. It shattered the illusion of parity. The Imperial Navy entered the war confident in its qualitative edge, superior pilots, agile aircraft, indomitable spirit. Yet here was evidence of something deeper, an adversary whose factories, laboratories, and free exchange of ideas produced miracles in miniature. The tiny vacuum tubes, shock-hardened circuits, and precise miniaturization inside each fuse embodied a society that valued innovation over dogma, quantity through quality, abundance through ingenuity. And so, as the war drew towards its close, the empty shell casings continued to fall, symbols of wealth not merely material, but philosophical. They whispered of a system where minds could freely question, experiment, and build, where the impossible became standard issue. In the end, the mid-air detonations were more than explosions. They were the sound of freedom's inexorable advance, unseen, unpredictable, and utterly decisive, reminding the world that true power arises not from scarcity or fanaticism, but from the boundless possibilities unleashed when a people are free to think, to create, and to prevail.